Good morning, YouTube. I wanted to make this video today for you guys while I was just waking up and while I was tired. The title of today's video is "This is why a lot of people overdrink," or something like that. And I'm going to share with you my thoughts and then my process surrounding this idea that a lot of people drink, overdrink, overeat, oversex, over porn, over drug, over work, over whatever, because they are not getting real with themselves as to what they think, how they feel, what they want, where they draw their reality from. A lot of people that overdrink, and I was once in this department and I could still fall victim to being in this department, overdrink because they don't know how to set boundaries, they don't know how to self-soothe, and they don't know how to feel their feelings and how to process. So last night was a toss and turny sort of night for me. They come from time to time, and I want to share with you my process for dealing with tossy turny nights and uncomfortable thoughts, and trying to make sure that I'm staying current and accurate with the things I mentioned so that I don't wind up putting them in something like a bottle or a drug or a sex or a porn. But first things first, Big No-No needs his big coffee for his big mouth. I'm trying to grow my hair out right now and just fight the fact that I'm balding just because I miss hair. So I was like wondering if I could grow it out, and if it was just thick enough up here that I could kind of comb it over. It's a weird thing to even think about, but I do find that when I hit record in the camera, my first instinct is to kind of like still put a hood on or something and cover it up. There's some honesty. So I'm on a challenge right now, as I guess some of you might know if you caught the one video where I mentioned it, where I want to make a video a day for 30 days, the first 30 days of 2022. This was my New Year's resolution. I'm actually someone who thinks that New Year's resolutions can be positive. Why do we overdrink? Ask yourself that if you have an issue with that. Or why do you overdo, at least as you might perceive overdoing it, anything in particular, and do you agree with me? I think it's because a lot of us aren't current with our thoughts and don't know what they are. So when I first wake up, I'm the most vulnerable. I'm the most vulnerable to suggestion. I try and be really careful about what I do and what I put into my brain. I don't always do this successfully, but most mornings when I'm following my path, I start out with a book like this. It's called Words That Heal by Douglas Block, Affirmations and Meditations for Daily Living, just to get the cobwebs out for some of my more self-destructive, self-loathing roots that I need to continuously monitor and look at. I'll read the first paragraph of this just to do it. The infinite intelligence in which we live, move, and have our being is essentially good. Or, as the Apostle John puts it, God is love, and he who dwells in love dwells in God. This is not to deny the existence of evil or negativity, but there's a loving force in which you can take refuge, one that will do its utmost to provide for and protect you each step along the path. Beautiful. Kind of read that and I'm just like, that's nice. These are powerful words of wisdom. The affirmation side of it, which is really important. Again, I think this is all, by the way, because it's so early, I haven't even taken a sip of coffee, so I don't know what, I'm sure I won't remember what I've said or what I haven't said, but the affirmations and this meditation and the next stuff I'm going to take you through will all help you, I think, as it has helped me and continues to help me make sure I'm current with myself in the areas in which I already mentioned. So affirmations: the world is a safe and nurturing place. You don't have to believe that to say it and benefit from reading it and hearing it, right? I'm just waking up. I'm in my hypnagogic state, I think. Very impressionable and suggestible to emotion, positive, negative, all those things. The universe has made ample provision for every need in my life. Okay, beautiful. My cup runneth over. Great. So that's an example, and then it gives me space for myself. So I did my affirmations. I'm going to take a couple deep breaths now. Here comes something that I truly believe is a terrible issue for so many of us. We're not current or aware of what we're really thinking, or we're not willing to explore it or acknowledge it. We don't know what to do with it. This comes into the psychological aspect that we all need to nurture and keep track of. So for me, it's a journal, right? A diary, if you will. Oh.
They're wet.
They're back. My wife took the... Hey! Dog's on a walk. And I insist on setting up in the kitchen sometimes because the window here and the lights right here just kind of make it really easy to get going. Journaling in your diary. This is a chance for you to get your thoughts out in an unreserved, unabashed, unfiltered way. Whatever you're thinking, whatever your brain is telling you, because you're not your thoughts, but your thoughts, if they circle round and round and they're not out on paper, and if they're potentially making you uncomfortable and you're not processing them, they will manifest in ways that can be unsavory, right? That can be unfavorable depending on how you manage your stress and your feelings and your thoughts. So I find that writing everything down that pops into my head, it can be scribbled, it can be written in bad grammar, it can be ugly, it can be mean, it can be uncomfortable, it doesn't matter. If it's floating around in your head, get it out of there. Or just ask yourself some questions, right? This is how you can start processing your thoughts. Now, if that's not enough, and writing everything down, and I am pretty freaking faithful about this for quite some time now, if that's not enough to kind of write down your thoughts, now we go into the next thing as far as what might be making you uncomfortable. What were you stewing about in bed like I was last night? I wrote it down, but it's not making sense, or it's still impacting me. So I need to do some reality testing, right? This is something that I've talked about in this channel that I'm convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt most people are not very good at doing this. And if you can get this in your toolkit, if you can get fairly familiar with how to test reality consistently, effectively, efficiently, and non-emotionally, those thoughts that go through your head, she's got the zoomies.
She's going crazy.
She's got the zoomies. But if you can reality test effectively and consistently and non-emotionally, right, if you can stay objective, if you can stay out of that fight or flight part of your brain, you're going to turn elsewhere less often to handle these uncomfortable thoughts, these uncomfortable feelings. So we woke up, we took some deep breaths, we read some words that heal just to get the brain going the right way. We did some journaling, great, but you know what? Something's bothering us. Something doesn't feel quite good. So we're going to reality test. And reality testing consists for me of CCC, catch it, check it, change it, catch the activating event, check it, is it true, yes or no? It's always that simple. Change it, oh, I understand that it's not true, or I can't prove that it's true, so I'm going to change the thought to something that I know is true, move on. A more aggressive version of that is called ABC therapy, right? ABC therapy I've talked about on the channel, and I should honestly practice with you guys out loud often because it's a good one, but it does take some practice. A is just your activating event, so I'll tell you guys one of mine. Just so we can continue to try to always communicate as vulnerably and as honestly as we can. My big channel that I started with my dad, the Paul Thomas MD channel, it's not doing well as of late. It's something I started 9 years ago, and let me 1 second till my wife's done microwaving, and I will continue that thought.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. So what I was saying, the big channel I have, last night I was laying in bed, stewing. I was definitely having lots of intrusive thoughts. I've become fairly committed to observing and gently observing at that, the thoughts I have, but not personalizing them if at all possible, and not catastrophizing. But I really was looping a lot that my big channel was dead. Now, I make my living on YouTube. I support my home at the moment while my wife is in school on YouTube. That is our primary source of income, and the primary source of income on YouTube isn't here at the Big No No YouTube channel. It's on the big one. I've been building it for about 10 years, and my dad's a passionate man who's fighting for some things online that can paint him in a negative light potentially, and I'm thinking about this. We put out a few projects as of lately on that channel that seem to have changed the nature of YouTube's algorithm as far as them sharing it on the platform. That's where my brain takes me. Excuse me. And the intrusive thought is that my big channel is dead, that the source of income that I've slowly built up and produced and marketed and created from scratch over the last 10 years is going to dry up and be over. The run is over. What will I do? I'm going to not be able to pay my bills. What can I do outside of YouTube? I just started going absolutely crazy. But the activating thought was the big channel is dead. Okay? So that's A for ABC. Big channel is dead. Belief system. I won't be able to provide for my family. I think that's ultimately the biggest fear, the belief system I have. The consequence of the ABC is always a feeling. It's always a feeling. So we're going to go with the primary feeling, anxiety. Now, D, my favorite part and what most people I'm convinced struggle with, disputing that belief system, right? But the belief system is I won't be able to provide for my family. Dispute that. Can I prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that my YouTube channel is dead? And I can't. And I can try, and that's where I'm supposed to sit here and play devil's advocate with myself. And that's where if you're doing an ABC check on something, activating event, that guy looked at me funny, for example, belief system, he wants to fight me. Consequence, anger. Disputing is where you get to go back and just be objective. Take yourself, be a third party to your own dilemma, your own thought process, your own feeling. And when I'm a third party and I look at my YouTube channel, I know that the last 6 weeks have been very bad and we've lost a lot of subscribers, a lot of our income. YouTube hasn't been recommending us as much for the last 6 weeks, but I cannot prove at all that that it's going to crash and that I won't be able to provide for my family. I can't prove that. So my effective new belief system is that my channel is still alive, which is true, and there's still things I can do to try to make it better, to improve my situation. That's my E, my effective new belief system. Now, that is a really fast, I'm barely awake, ragtag, driving you guys through some of my morning routine, but honestly some of my life routine, my processes that keep me from over drinking or needlessly drinking, especially for the wrong reasons, and maybe will keep you from doing one of the things I mentioned before that just isn't helping you or serving you when it's overdone. The next thing is people, I think, well, there's two things. People I think are over drinking, overusing, and overdoing all the things I mentioned also because they're not clear with themselves what they want, and so that's a self-boundary issue. They're not clear with what they want, and I think people are also very bad, or not, at least not particularly good at letting other people know what they want and learning how to effectively set boundaries with them. Now, before I learned how to do that, and there's literally just written out piece by piece formulas for this. One I love is the 5-part communication system. But before I learned to do that, I could not regulate my emotions. I constantly victimized myself. It was a very normal thing. A very normal thing. And in a state of self-victimization, it was very, very easy and efficient to escape those terribly uncomfortable feelings. Now, a lot of this came from learning about my background and my childhood and how I was impacted by my childhood. I think everyone should take the opportunity to question if they came out of childhood unscathed emotionally and certainly as far as how they think and process, and just make sure that they're living in a sound reality, right? Something that I got lucky enough to do. But I'm not sure where I was going with that. But my point is, I've learned how to set boundaries with people, how to soothe myself, and how to not victimize myself under any circumstance. And so on a morning like today, so I can always bring it back to myself, because I'm not trying to tell you what to do or how to think or what's right or what's wrong for you or anything like that. But I was definitely spinning last night. So in the spirit of I am not a victim, I know how to set boundaries, and I'm always attempting to be clear with myself as to what I want. I'd look at this. What is going on over there? Hang on. Stop. Mercy does not take much. There's something going. It's going to drive me crazy. So in the spirit of turning all this around myself and reality testing, I have to ask myself what I want with the channel. What responsibility do I have over the fact that it's not been doing so well? And one thing I know that I did, I have to own, I cannot victimize myself over, is that I greenlit certain projects about certain topics and ideas that I knew for a fact were controversial. That's mine to own, right? That's where I can take personal culpability for perhaps what's happening with my channel. No one forced me to do anything there, right? Another thing a lot of people struggle with, in my estimation. As far as boundaries go, or what I want the channel to be successful. So what am I going to do about it then? What can I control? And I'm going to do that, right? So my dad and I spoke, and we had a very real and healthy, but even potentially confrontational talk about it. What are we going to do here? Because this is important to me. I want to try to salvage it. And so we talked, and we decided to get rid of a bunch of content that we had tried out that maybe isn't helping us in YouTube's eyes. Maybe, right? Because we can't be sure. But that might be worth trying. And so we deleted some content. It made me sad. Millions of views disappeared. But I took control. Now, that gives me some calm. It gives me some sense of responsibility. It gives me some sense of power, I guess. Like, look, I can control. I have the power to control certain things, so I'm going to. I'm not going to victimize myself, wallow, and give myself a reason to be sad or something. Not that it's wrong to be sad. So, the boundaries thing. This probably could have been multiple videos, and I need content right now. So, me no sé why I do this. I don't know. I think if you can learn to set boundaries with yourself and with others, you're much less likely to fall into a victim, rescue, or perpetrator dynamic in your life and in your thoughts and your behaviors. And the boundaries I've talked about, there's a boundary system called the 5-part communication system. You tell someone what you saw or what you heard. You tell them what you thought about what you saw or what you heard. You tell them how you felt about what you saw or what you heard. You tell them what you want now that you saw or heard what you saw or heard, thought and felt what you did. What do you want? And then you ask the person if they're willing. And this is something you can do in yourself, and this is something you can practice. So that was a lot, and I know that. And the good news about blitzing through it the way I did is that I'm going to have a chance to unpack it more, and I'm having thoughts that would be a good idea, considering I think we're only 5 days into this. Every day I'm going to make a video challenge, and I don't know that you follow all of that, but what I want you to know is that in all my years, and I'm going to try to wrap up the video here, in all my years of struggling with my self-esteem, my self-image, my relationships, struggling with my relationship with alcohol and my personal identity and my ability to deal with other people and fit in the world. In all my years, I didn't have any of these tools that I mentioned to you, and things didn't start getting better for me until I was able to learn how to use them. It's night and day different being me today than it was even a year ago, but certainly many years ago. And it has allowed me to slowly but surely completely transform the way I interact with the world and how vulnerable I am to sudden and unprecedented anxiety or sadness or fear or impulsivity. It doesn't make me immune to them, but boy, am I a lot more sturdy because I know how to handle sudden floods of emotion. I know what to do with them. I've practiced. And in the past, a person, a place, or a thing could set my poor little mind and then my behavior off into a dangerous and dark space so quickly. I feel sadness for that version of me, that version of me that was just ripe for the picking, nerves and emotions on edge, who is certainly drinking too much too often, was thinking too much too often, was not feeling his feelings, was not processing his thoughts, was not reality testing what was happening, was not setting boundaries, was not negotiating with himself, was self-victimizing and or trying to victimize or perpetrate onto other people, right? Or rescue, but a detached and devoid of self-soothing and life skills and emotion skills version of myself. I feel for that guy because I'm a completely different person today, and I understand that that's part of life. I want everyone to have the opportunity to know how to do some of this stuff, and I'm still a baby. I'm still learning, so I'm no guru, but I've seen some stuff, and I've been to some places, and I've learned some things. And while this was absurdly long-winded, I think it's important to share. And so I'm glad I did, and I hope you got something out of that. In the comment section below, what are some things that you do to stay current with your emotions, your thoughts, and your behaviors? Do you use any of the tools that I just used? Are there some other things that are working for you? And if you're willing to be honest, feel free to comment, especially if you have a name that's like an alias as far as your screen name. Comment that you struggle with this stuff. Get that out of your system. Let that be a first step in being honest. I realize I didn't mention another really important thing, but that's just talking with someone you feel comfortable with after perhaps you've processed some of your own thoughts and you're like, I still don't know what to do with this. There's always the option to just speak it, but yeah, just comment something as to what are your thoughts on this? What are your experiences with this? What have been your struggles? What have been your wins? What have been things that have come easier to you? And know that I think about this channel often. I appreciate you guys who have stuck it out with me. And I especially appreciate those that communicate in a calm and respectful way to me always. That means a lot. But I just know that I have so much empathy for you if you're struggling right now. I care, and I hope you find peace, and I hope you find that thing that's going to work, that little aha moment. And if you got an aha out of this, great. Maybe I'll get an aha from you in the comment section. That would be great. But just don't give up and keep trying. You have no idea when something's going to click or when things might get better. You have no idea. The only thing you can do is keep going and keep trying. Things will click eventually. I'm sure of it. As long as you don't isolate and completely give up. All right. My eyes must be puffy. That's okay. It's early. I'm just waking up, but I appreciate you. If you're still here, I want you to put in the comment section, open. And as this 30-day challenge mandates, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Adios.